The number one waste of time is actually boredom. They've done studies on the brain. Look, when you've spent a whole day working on a project, mentally, whether it's a school project or a work project or a quarterly performance review, or you're doing something that requires a lot of mental energy, it's exhausting, right? It's not that somebody can look from the outside and say you moved around a lot, but mentally you spent a lot of calories. Your body might get stiff while you're there, but you actually burned a lot, you ended up eating a bunch, or your blood sugar is up and down, so you need to eat food. Your brain is always burning calories. Your brain is always surveying the environment and saying, do I need to spend calories on this? You know what? Exercising, I don't want to think about it because I don't want to spend any calories on it, is what your brain is thinking. No lion is going to eat me if I don't lift this dumbbell. So I'm just going to kind of put it on autopilot for a second, get into my automatic behavior and do my exercise sort of mindlessly. But that is the opposite of what's going to get you more energy. Look, your brain, in a way, is always scanning your environment. What do I need to pay attention to? What's going to help me survive here? What's going to help me thrive here? And when you exercise, it gets so easy to go onto autopilot because your brain doesn't want to spend the calories. That's the exact opposite of what you need to do. You need to focus on your body. Where's the pressure in my feet? Where's the pressure in my hands? Where's the pressure in my body? Because that sort of deliberate practice, that sort of deliberate focus is going to engage your brain more. It's going to connect your brain with your body more. It's going to align the utilization of your blood sugar better because your energy systems are going to be more integrated. When you exercise, if you don't get feedback from the movement, where should I be feeling that? How am I moving it? How am I receiving these messages as I'm interacting? And you don't get feedback actually from somebody else that says, that's being done well, but you need to work on this. You're going to stay in these automatic behaviors. Your brain is going to continue to shut down and spend the least amount of energy possible because it doesn't see a lion. There's no urgency. There's no threat, which is good. But at the same time, you need to be able to have access to your brain that allows you to then expend that energy at the use of your will. So your brain can actually rob you of so much energy because it doesn't want to spend it. And it thinks, well, what's the return on that activity? If I focus on this exercise, it's just much easier for me to pick one thing to focus on. Let me push the weights up instead of let me squeeze the weights together. Let me pull them apart at the top. It loves these cyclical activities, like these Peloton bikes and these rowers and all of these other movements where it's so cyclical you don't have to think about it. And I think they're great, but they're only 1/3 or maybe 1/4 of the health equation when it comes to physical use. So here's the main message. Your brain is always asking you to limit calories and not to spend a lot. And it's always surveying your environment. And unless somebody has bacon-wrapped dates at the gym or at your home gym or when you're exercising and you don't go, and they say, I'll give you a bacon-wrapped date if you do this exercise in this way. Oh, I'm going to put my ribs down and I'm going to use all of my body here because I want those bacon-wrapped dates. Then chances are you're probably going to go into autopilot and you're going to tap into the path of least resistance. If you want to learn more about the path of least resistance, check out my video, How to Make Exercise Easy. What I'm talking about is starting with the problem because that engages your brain. Check out my video on starting with the problem to learn more. But in a shorthand version, when you go to exercise and you ask yourself, what am I going to focus on here? I'm going to focus on this, this, and this. Okay, what's the external problem? Well, I'm going to try to move this weight that way. And I know I need to do this with my hips because if I don't do this with my hips, I'm just not going to get the exercise right. Start to think in terms of problems as you approach a movement, and you start to think in terms of what am I going to focus on here? Then you're identifying the critical actions needed in your body as you approach the movement in order to do it to get the most return on that activity and to, in the end, save the calories. Because autopilot is not always a good thing. You want to be able to turn your brain on and off at will. not have your brain turn you on or off at its convenience. In the end, here's the message. Your brain is a dynamic organ that is consistently scanning your environment and asking this question: how can I save calories? Your brain, all calories are created equal. For over 15 years, I have been eating organic food. I don't believe all calories are created equal. I was talking to somebody a couple months ago, and they were talking to me about, well, I don't want to limit my protein intake. I said, I'm not asking you to limit your protein intake. I'm talking to you about eating a certain amount of protein because you're not eating enough. It's not all equal. Calories are not all equal, but to your brain, they are all equal. So, your brain does a lot of things, but if you want to get the most out of exercise, and you want to actually optimize the use of your brain with your body, create a deliberate practice, get some feedback on what you should be focusing on, and identify the critical actions necessary for the movement in order to get the most out, the return on the activity, or the return on the exercise. If you like this, check out my YouTube, DominicSessa.com, Instagram. If you're on my newsletter, thanks for being here. We'll talk again.